Hey, thanks for joining this video. In this video, I'm going to walk you through creating these gorgeous earrings. So these are part of my August 2025 project box. They came out really cute. They're fun flapper style earrings, gemstones, Yuki seed beads, a really cool brass finding. Ear wires are in there. And so there's another version as well that you can make. There's enough in your kit to make both of these pairs. So this is the lunar phases version, and it's just got kind of a moonlit glow to it. This one is a really, really gorgeous on. Actually, I'm going to show you it on because I think I'm already wearing some little stud earrings there, but I think it's really cool. So that's very summer, isn't it? That colorway, honestly, even though I feel like this one stands out more in a photo and is more drawing and catching, the one I'm probably going to wear the most is this one. I feel like, even though they both have vibes for different days, right? Let's put one on and one on the other ear. I think they're just both unique to whatever you're wearing and where you're going and what your style is that day. So colorful, and colorful is really fun. And then there's the moon vibes, which actually kind of looks like natural sand, sun for daytime as well. So you could even swap the finding and do one versus the other. I mean, I just really thought, how cool is this one? I just love that one. Just such a dance party. So whichever is your favorite, you get both. And the technique for creating them is exactly the same. There's a downloadable pattern PDF in the video description that tells you all the counts. And if you're watching this way later and you don't have the beads and my box isn't for sale, you just need some 11 seed beads, any kind of little finding. And the measurement on this finding, hang tight really quick. It's basically 13 beads, 11 seed beads, Miyukis across. So like a lot of findings are that same dimension. But you're looking at a smidge over an inch. And if you're measuring the inside, it's exactly an inch. So outside diameter is a little longer, but the inside diameter from here to here, which is where your seed beads hang out, it's about an inch. You can even make a finding like that with some wire. So 11 seed beads, some kind of thing to stitch onto, and then little 4mm rondelles, any kind. In my case, I have some gemstones, but a lot of stuff there would work, including fire polish, right? All right, so let's dive into the project. Hey guys! In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make these gorgeous lunar fringe earrings. This one is a moon phase design, and it has worked with size 11 Miyuki seed beads. They're round seed beads. And then I have a bunch of little clear quartz gemstones. Really pretty, about 4mm in size. This is worked with a Picasso seafoam, size 11 Miyuki seed beads, and some other gems, including those quartz you see on the other design, but then also some red jasper and some dyed jade in a dark blue and a gorgeous green. And the little findings are little brass findings, and then there's also an ear wire. The thread that I'm using, I'm going to be working with something that's a little easier to maneuver around. So nylon size B is ideal for fringe. It gives you the motion that you want when it's hanging and when you're wearing it, but also is strong. What you see here is the color Sand Ash. It's a 1G beading thread. That's what I used on this design. On this one, I switched to using the cream color, but the same size thread. And for anyone who wants to know the details, it's a 100% nylon, 330 D-Tex, made in Japan. So those are the components that I'll be using. There is a downloadable pattern for you that you can find on my website. It'll also be linked in the description. All right, and so as far as like for demo purposes, I feel the color you'll be able to see the best would be if I worked with the slightly darker thread, the Sand Ash color, and the Picasso seafoam color. I feel like that's going to be the easiest for a demo. The patterns used on both of these is the exact same counts. The only difference between them is their colors. So in this case, it's 4 gemstones, but they're all the same color. In this one, I graduate the green, blue, red, and clear. But they're all going to be the basic following count. It's made with an alternating. It doesn't really, so when you look at it like this, it's a lot more like involved looking as far as how it's stitched, but it's so easy how it's done. Okay, so check this out. All you gotta do is let's just isolate out the long ones. So it's every other strand is short, starting with a short one and ending with a short one. That count there, after you do the brick stitch row, is 8 beads. So all of the short strands start with 8 beads, and then you do gemstone seed bead, gemstone seed bead, gemstone seed bead, gemstone seed bead is your turning bead there. So 8 beads. If you count the brick stitch row, you'll see 9. But it's basically your stringing. When you string fringe, your count there is 8. Now look at the every other rows from the back. If I just flip it around this way, it's actually maybe easier if I do that. There we go. So those are the rows, the second one and the second to last one and every other in between. That's 20. The count on that is 20 beads. And then it's the same gemstone iteration. And when you do that, you get this really cool effect. So there's what it looks like from the back. And then in the front, it looks like that. Isn't that cool? I'm dropping it. Didn't need to drop it there. Sorry about that. But I mean, that's just a really neat effect. I'm not sure why it always kind of like ends up looking like flapper, 1920s flapper dress, doesn't it? So cool. And it really does just fan out like that. So I'm going to show you exactly how that was done. And again, downloadable pattern. Here's the other one. Same thing. Just to show you really quickly what it looks like in that color. Same thing we got going on there. All right, so let me set this aside and we'll put our ear wires over here too. We don't need those just yet. All right, so for the length of thread to cut, you actually only need 90 inches. And it works out there because some of these strands are short. Normally on a fringe this wide, you would need a lot more than that, but definitely works out with 90 inches. I've done that a few times now and tested it, but if you want to give it a little extra, it can't hurt. But the other thing I was going to mention is there's 2 things you could do. You could start the brick stitch row leaving a really long tail. And what that would enable you to do is work the fringe from one side till you run out. Then you would take that super long tail and work that fringe back to the middle. And when you do that, you can join here and it saves you working with such super long threads. So that's definitely an option to do. Alternatively, you can just start with enough tail to do a quick little tie off. Either way, you're going to meet the tail. So what I mean by that is we're going to start by knotting to the component. We're going to brick stitch the number of beads out this way. In total, you have a brick stitch of 13 beads across. And then you're going to go ahead and do the fringe strands. So stringing those out and working this way. If you do that, you'll meet your tail here. If you left your tail long, you'll run out of threads somewhere around here, and you can just take that long tail, work those fringe strands, and you will meet back here in the middle. So that's another way to think about it. So yeah, a couple of ways you can do that. I'm going to demo the long tail way because I do think it's going to be quicker to film if I'm not pulling long strands through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pre-measure and cut 90 inches of thread. So I'm going to set that beautiful earring aside so that it doesn't get in our way. And I went ahead and threaded a needle. I'm working with a size 10 beading needle. For the moment, we're only going to need our seed beads and our findings. So we'll get our gems out in a minute. We'll go ahead and just dump out a comfortable pile of those. And we'll add to that later. And working with, again, we were going to do the midpoint knot idea, right? So we have the long tail. So the best way to do that is to take the 2 ends of your thread. And keep in mind, this is going to be roughly 90 inches or a wingspan and a half if you want to go with that. And there's our midpoint right there. So what I'm going to do is just take my needle side, pinch this in your hand, take your needle side, go through the finding, pull that through until you reach roughly the end there. There we go. And so I see right about there. Right about there is the midpoint. And again, it doesn't have to be exact. You just want to have a pretty good tail. So go ahead and tie a double knot. And I know that's a little tricky with 2 long, super long tails, but let's go ahead and go 1. And then here's my other side. Bring that through. So in a nutshell, we just double knotted 90 inches of thread at the midpoint to the finding. So you'll have something that looks like that. Now, just at the first step, this is just a me thing. You don't have to do this, but I really like doing this. I'll take the ends of my thread, bring those two ends back together. And with a size 11 seed bead, it can be a little trickier, but I really don't think it's that bad. Just pick up one 11 seed bead on both of those two strands. See, just bring that down. And I put my needle on already, so I'm just going to go over my needle. You can always do that later. And then just bring that bead on to sit on top of your knot and pull your working and tail thread apart. And now your knot's hidden in that first bead. So pretty cool. All right, with the needle side, the side that you've got your needle on, let's lay our finding across the mat here. We're going to pick up another 11 seed bead. And again, this is that super long tail. Just push that out of your way. You can always lay that across your desktop heading in the opposite direction. And then with your next bead on the needle, bring your needle behind the component and then bring your needle through. And on this sun finding, we have a little bar section here. We actually have that on both findings. So you want to just go through just this first one. So you want to come up so that we can go up and over and around it like that. So if you've caught this one up here, you'll just need to come through and make sure you didn't catch this top bar. Head back up through that bead. You'll know you've got it right because you'll have your thread just hugging that first bar when you pull tight. So just like that. It's really nice and easy. And pick up one more bead. And again, we just want to go under that first bar of the finding. And then one thing I'd like to do just to keep the bead on that side is if you just press, you're kind of holding the thread so that it stays on that side and the bead does not join it. Because sometimes the bead will try to come through the finding. But if you just put your finger like that, it'll hold the bead in place for you. And then you want to go up through the bead and pull tightly. And with brick stitch, things move around. For the most part, you can get them to stay put. Let's do one more together and then we'll jump ahead. Here's the next bead. Just going through the finding like that. And there we go. That happened a little more smoothly that time. And go up through just the bead that we just added and pull tightly. So there's 4. Again, we need a total of 13 to the end here. I'll turn the camera back on when I get to the last bead. All right, so there is 13 beads across, brick stitched onto the finding. Before you start your fringe row, or your first strand of fringe, it can really help to lock in these edges. Easily done by going back through the second to last bead there. And this is optional, but recommended. And then turn and head through that last bead. And if you take your thumbnail, just kind of hold both of those beads together like that, flat, and then just pull to tighten. Get a nice, awesome lock in there. I'll do the same thing with this one over here once I have a needle on it. For now, it's okay. We're just going to let that hang out. We're going to be able to get through about half of the fringe strands. We'll get to about the midpoint with this side of the thread, at which point we'll switch to this side and work to the middle. So we're going to need our gems. Let's get our gemstones out. And I worked with every color in the, for you, if you bought the kit, they're going to be in a set of 4 strands. And you'll just want to, what I immediately did is just cut them free from the strands and put them in a container, but you can always keep them stranded too. It's easier to see them that way too. And again, the pattern PDF will show you this order, but I'm going to be doing green, blue, the red, jasper, and then the clear. Start with 8 seed beads. There's 8. And sometimes just to double check it, I'll go see and cut 4 and 4. It's great. Slide that down. And now we'll start with the green gemstone seed bead, blue seed bead, red jasper, and the clear quartz, ending with an additional seed bead. Strand that down. And I'm just going to push these up. I think they're toying with our focus there. There we go. How's that focus? Is it good? Okay, so skip the last seed bead that you added and bring your needle back up. All those beads, including the one that is in the brick stitch row. So you want to get through all of those. And on this short little strand, it happens pretty easily, but on the longer one, I'll show you, it helps to pinch the last seed bead in. Make a pull like that. So there's our first one. Now go ahead and turn and head down through the second bead. And now we're going to string 20 seed beads. And that's easiest done in batches of 10. So string 10, string 10. You can even take a look and make sure 5 and 5 on your needle before you slide it down. I kind of pick them up in order of 5 just to keep it, even and easy to remember. And then repeat your same pattern of gemstone, which could be different if you like something different. That's what I did on the original. Remember to end with a seed bead. Did I put one on? I thought I did. There we go. There's my other seed bead. Skip the last one. And very carefully, making sure not to miss any seed beads. It's easy to do, especially in between those gems. And get through as many as you can. If you're working with a longer needle like I am, you can possibly get through them all. Make sure you go through the one on the brick stitch row as well. And here's where, with a longer strand, I get to about like that. And then I'll see how, let me show you. I'm going to hold this up really quick. Do you see how that loop is showing there? Forgive me, I'm going to make it really clear. So this little loop, that loop is from when we made our turn from leaving this strand and heading into that one. And the only way to tighten that is to pull like that. You see it? So you want to do that first. And that can kind of be accomplished in one swoop by pinching that last seed bead and pulling all of those beads together. And so this is your chance at this spot to look and make sure that everything went to plan, right? So you can see that there's nothing showing here in the way of thread above our brick stitch row, which is where it would show if we had any issues there. Now we're going to turn here, head down through this one, and gently tighten. Now when you tighten the longer ones, you don't want to pull too tight or you'll get this, you see where it starts to bend? It's almost making it turn. You don't want to do that. If you have gone too tight, just kind of, they call it pet the fringe, literally what we're doing, but it makes it stay in a more uniform kind of tension. So that's how to accomplish that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep creating fringe in the pattern. So for the next one, we're going to do 8. And I just brought on 4 and 4. And then again, our gemstone pattern of green, and then the blue, the red, and our clear, plus a seed bead, stringing that down. And we'll head up through all those beads. That one worked out really nicely. So keep doing that. Again, for the next one, we're going to have 20. Then it'll be 8 again, then 20. Go until your thread is short. Don't go till your thread's super short. You're going to need a little bit to do finishing with, but keep going until you're running a little low on thread. And then I'll stop at the camera when I get, or start the camera again when I get to that spot myself. All right, so I have just finished strand number 7. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a needle onto the tail side of my thread. That's this one right here, coming out of the tail side. And then I'm going to do that same thing on this side that I did at the beginning of the other one, just to lock in this first brick stitch row here. Even though that one's got a knot under it, it's still helpful to go up through that bead. And then if you just want to pass right through that second bead right there. Keep in mind that one's got a knot in it, so you might have to maneuver around it, but look how nice that makes it look. Do you see how sharply it attaches it to the finding? That tip right there honestly was like life-saving for me when it came to changing my work to be like very, very much more professional looking. So I recommend doing that. It's really nice. All right, and so again, I'm going to start with 8 beads on this side. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then string in that same pattern. So we're just going to go with the green, blue, red, clear, and seed bead for that last little spot. So you definitely want to start with 8, a shorter strand on this side, skip that last bead, and head right up through all of these. And there you go. And again, on this side, I'm going to do grab that bead right when it's just got a little bit left to go, right? And then just pinch that. Okay. Make a turn, heading down through the second bead in the brick stitch row there. Keep the tension gentle. And then we'll do the strand of 20, another one of 8, another one of 20, another of 8, and then we'll end with one of 20. And check it out right here. I've got my tail thread left from creating the last strand on that side. So let's get to the middle, and then I'll show you how to complete. All right, so I got my last strand coming on, and what you want to do is you do want to make sure you're kind of fanning out, because once you get to the middle here, things get kind of crowded. So just fan them out, check your counts. For the end, when I get excited, I make counting mistakes, so just double check all those things. Here comes the last fringe strand. And this was, I ended with a 20 here at the middle. I'm going to bring that needle through. And again, just keep that tension good by pulling with this one. Grabbing that last seed bead and kind of just pinching it. And that should help you get all of this tension up here correct without pulling the strand too tight. It really helps. All right, so what you're going to see here is we've got our tail side exiting. And that's this one right here. And then the one we just did, which is this one right here. So we're just going to need to join those. All right, so you'll have your 2 threads meeting each other here, but you notice how they're both kind of headed out of adjacent beads. We want that to be so that they're both headed out of the same bead so we can tie a quick knot. And the way to get there is you notice how we're exiting whichever side your needle's on. For me, that's this one. I'm going to go through the finding, okay? And then you see how I'm exiting from this bead right here? Flip it over. And go down through the same bead. And just go through the one here on the bar. The brick stitched one. Don't go through your fringe strand. Just go through that one. So it's just going to put another loop of thread over the bar and through the bead. From here, I'm going to turn and come up through the adjacent bead, which happens to be the one that the tail is coming out of. With all the fringe going on here, it's really easy to get tangled with your thread. So the best way to do that is to flip it like that. Have that fringe out of your way for this one little part. And there you go. Just make sure it doesn't grab any of your thread. And so what we have now is our working and tail thread have met each other, headed out of the same bead now. Right there. So a very gentle, don't want to add any tension, but a very gentle double knot is possible right here. So there's that first half of the double knot. And here's the second half. And then last but not least, if you want to, you can take, and if you have a side that you believe is the front side, which you will, because for some reason, almost every time I make this, the strands decide. Whatever side I was working, it always kind of puts the short ones on the top, even without me telling it to. Just notice how it's just kind of doing that automatically. I think it's just because whatever side I'm holding it, but I have in the fact flipped it before and just noticed that these stay on the back from that side. I don't know how or why. It just seems to work. Sometimes I have to straighten them out, but not really. But in that case, since you do have kind of a clear front, you could take the needle, the side you still have your needle in, and just kind of poke it through to get it to the other side. I'm just going to pull it that way. And that really brings that knot to sit under the finding now. So you can just do this, right? And now that knot's really hidden. And based on that, I think it's safe to go ahead and burn those ends. You've got a really good knot there. If you feel insecure about it at all, the option remains to weave in more, meaning you can go down through a bead, up to the next one, around the finding, trim. You could do that if you wanted to as well, but I have a good double knot in there, and I'm using a thread burner, which adds another little layer of security for things not coming unraveled. There we go. So there's my earring. Let's get its friend. Where'd the friend go? There we go. So you'll have an ear wire to put on. And I'm going to go ahead and grab that ear wire really quick. And I put it over here. So if you just have some regular chain nose pliers. So my chain nose pliers are hiding from me right here. So the regular kind with the pointy. Just going to open the loop on your ear wire, which on the ear wires that came with my kit, the loop is facing the hook side. So you want to, in a lateral motion, just open it like that. Pop your earring on. And there you go. So these are gorgeous. These are fun to wear. Same process used to create the other set. The other set is really fun. It's just this lunar magic. So all of them together, really beautiful design. Hope you enjoyed it. Double check my channel for some more content like this. I'm going to be doing another kit box. And in fact, let me take a moment to talk to you about the kit box, because if you've made it this far, you're enjoying it. So here's the box itself. This is just an empty one, but let me raise up a little bit. Here we go. So every month, at least every month, maybe every other month, I'm going to try to keep up with it, but I'm going to be releasing a pre-order link. So this is a link you click on and you check out. And if you add any other items from my shop to that link when you check out, they won't ship until the box ships. So just FYI on that if you're not in a hurry, but I won't be able to ship twice on the same order. If you're ordering the box, it's going to ship when the box comes. It's a pre-order link. So I need to know how many people want a box, and this will help me avoid the oversell situation where I sell out and people still want them and I don't have any more stuff. That happened on this box, the one I'm holding. And I made a lot of them and I still underestimated. So this will help me out. If you guys want to do the pre-order link, that's great. I'm going to keep it short turnaround though. It's not going to be as long as some of the subscription boxes out there. So basically it'll be 2.5 week turnaround. So the pre-order link, and then 2.5 weeks later, the boxes will start shipping. So look for that. I am recording this in August. I believe today is the 8th. No, it's actually August 7th. I'm ahead of myself. So August 7th today, this box launched on the 4th. And so it started shipping on the 4th, but it wasn't a pre-order. It was just like a ready to go, order it, I ship it 2 days later kind of box. This next one will be a pre-order. And so it will ship on September 4th, whatever the first Monday in September is. I just need to double check what date that is. But that's around about when it'll ship. The link to pre-order is going to come up next week. I'm aiming to have that up by Wednesday of next week. So see, Saturday's the 9th. So like the 13th of August, I'll launch the pre-order link. And then within 2.5 weeks, I'll start shipping the new box, which actually puts it a little earlier. Let me just take a quick look and get you some calendar dates for that. So pre-order is starting on the 13th, and then 2 weeks later, that first Monday in September is September 1st, actually. And so I'm hoping to have it shipping at any point there between the 1st and the 4th. So that'll be the next dates. And that link, again, look for that at daniellewickesjewelry.com. It'll be labeled as pre-order the September project box. And you just click on that and check out. And that, again, will be available starting August 13th. Oh, and I'm going to close the dates on those so I know when to stop taking orders, so I can eventually I have to say, okay, that's the count, right? So I'm going to have that on sale from the 13th until the 22nd of August. And after the 22nd of August, if you want to order the next one, just wait for the next pre-order link, and that will be October's box. But if you want a September box, you'll need to place your order between the 13th and the 22nd. And if there's any issues with that, you can always message me and let me know if you need a little extra time. I can do that for, onesie twosie here and there. But for the most part, it's super easier for me if everyone just does the pre-order link. That way everybody gets a box, and I know what I can order and play with based on, how many people are interested. So that's the way I'm going to do it from going forward. So if you miss this box, don't fret. There's going to be so many more, and I'm only getting more ideas every second. So, but for everybody else who got the box for this one, here's your designs. Keep your eyes peeled for extras. So I have tons of beads left over, and I'm going to be doing some inspiration for the leftovers, just bringing out all the little pieces for you to see. So these were the projects so far. The 2 fringe earrings, the chevron feathers, and then you had the bracelets. There's the option to make a wrap and the option to make a single. And actually, you can probably almost make both. The only problem is the findings. You'll have plenty of these. You get 2 sets of these. But in the kit, there was only 3. I'm going to put a link also in this to some of the extras. So if I have any extras, you can check out with those. I know I have a few extra of these findings. So if you're looking for those, and I do have some extras of the seed beads and maybe a couple extra gemstone strands too. So if those are available, they will be a link in the description. I haven't done that assessment yet to count, but anyway, I'm on a ramble, so I'm going to let you guys go, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And of course, any questions, just find me in the chat or in the comments section. And there's also my website has a contact form. You can reach me there. And also, don't forget to sign up for my newsletter. Reminders, coupons, and exclusives go out every other week or so. I send out a newsletter update. So if you want to register for that, just go to daniellewickesjewelry.com, and you'll see a subscription link right there in the center of my website. All right, thanks so much, and I'll see you for the next one.